A sound traveled through the silent darkness of space. It was broken, full of fear, and carried a message that no one wished to hear. Far from Earth, an old alien listening station picked up the strange signal. The workers inside were bored, half asleep, until the voice came through. It was a human voice. "Please, whoever hears this, stay away. We released it. We cannot control it. Run while you can." Then the message cut off with a sharp scream. The alien crew froze. No one moved. No one spoke. The message repeated again, like a warning echoing through the endless void. They looked at each other, confused and terrified. Humans rarely sent distress calls like this. They were known for bravery, for fighting until the last second. But this voice sounded broken. The commander replayed the message once more, looking for clues, but the only thing they found was fear. Real fear. The story behind that message began many years earlier on Earth. Deep under the surface, hidden away from the world, a group of the brightest human scientists worked on a secret project called Project Goliath. The world above them believed they were researching defense technology. Only a few knew the truth. They were creating a living weapon. Not a robot. Not a machine. A creature. Humans had discovered threats far beyond their understanding. Things in deep space that could destroy entire colonies in minutes. They had been attacked before, and many believed another attack was coming. So, Earth decided to prepare. They decided to create something that could fight back. The creature they built was called Goliath. In the beginning, it was small, almost harmless. But as it grew, everyone working on the project started to notice something unusual. Goliath was learning. Too fast. Its brain developed faster than expected. Its strength increased every day. What shocked the scientists most was how Goliath reacted to danger. It did not hide. It did not fear. It evolved. One day, an experiment went wrong. A scientist accidentally startled the creature. Goliath reacted in less than a second. Alarms blared. Emergency lights flashed red. By the time the guards reached the chamber, the creature had already broken through 3 layers of reinforced walls. It had not killed anyone that day, but only because it did not care about the humans running and screaming around it. Instead, it studied them, watched them, observed how they responded. It learned their weaknesses. From that moment, the project changed. What was meant to be a guardian now looked more like a threat that could one day turn on Earth itself. Meetings were held. Plans were discussed. Fear began to spread inside the facility. The scientists argued. Some believed they could still control Goliath. Others believed the creature needed to be destroyed immediately. But Goliath was smarter than they expected. It seemed to sense everything happening around it, as if it understood it was being judged. The final decision came from the top. Goliath must be removed from Earth. They could not kill it. They feared what might happen if they tried. So they decided to launch it into space. A special containment pod was built, made of materials stronger than anything humans had ever produced. It was designed to hold the creature for thousands of years, with no way for it to break out. At least that was the hope. The day of the launch was tense. Soldiers surrounded the area. Scientists watched from behind thick glass. Goliath stood still, staring at everyone. No one could tell what it was thinking, but its eyes held something cold, something calculating. As the pod door closed, Goliath did not fight. It simply watched. The rocket engines roared. The ground shook. Humans sighed in relief as the creature was blasted into space, away from Earth, away from danger. But the relief did not last long. A week later, the same station where the message was first heard picked up a new signal. This one was different. It was not a human voice. It was a deep, vibrating sound, metal bending, something breaking. Inside the containment pod, Goliath had opened its eyes. For 7 days it stayed motionless, silent, waiting. Then, slowly, it began to tear the pod apart from the inside. The pod was meant to be unbreakable, but the creature had evolved again. Its strength had doubled. Its bones had hardened. Its claws had grown sharp enough to cut through the strongest alloys. When the pod finally cracked open, a wave of cold mist escaped into the emptiness of space. The monster humans had created was now free, and it was no longer the same creature they had sent away. Now, floating in the dark, Goliath stretched its limbs and looked around. It had no fear. It had no doubt. Only purpose. The signals of nearby alien ships called to it, like lights in the night. And Goliath began to move toward them. Slowly. Silently. Patiently. As if it already knew what it wanted. And this is how the message that echoed through space began. The message that warned every world. We released it. And now it's coming. The alien patrol ship Varian 7 drifted quietly through the cold darkness of space. Its crew was calm, moving through their routine checks. Nothing exciting ever happened in this part of the galaxy. It was empty, silent, and forgotten. But that silence did not last. A sudden alarm rang through the ship, sharp and loud. Red lights flashed. The pilot's eyes widened as he stared at the radar. "Commander, something is coming toward us." The commander walked over, annoyed at first, thinking it was another broken sensor. But when he saw the screen, his face turned pale. Something was moving, fast. Too fast for any ship they knew. And the object had no engine signal. It was drifting, yet somehow moving with purpose. The crew whispered among themselves, trying to understand what they were seeing. The object looked like a large metal pod, broken and twisted on one side. It floated slowly, almost like a dead thing. But sensors detected heat inside. Something was alive in there. The pod bumped softly against the side of the alien ship. The sound echoed through the hull like a warning knock. For a moment, no one dared to approach it. Finally, the commander ordered a team to bring it inside. 2 guards entered the airlock. The pod sat in the center, silent, covered in scratches. Deep scratches. Marks that looked like claws had torn through the metal. One guard leaned in closer. "There's something inside," he whispered. His voice shook. Before they could open the pod, a small crack appeared on its surface. A thin line. Then another. Then dozens more. The pod was opening by itself. The guards jumped back, weapons raised. The metal peeled apart like the pod was being cut open from the inside. A cold mist spread across the floor. Then silence. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then it stepped out. A dark, tall figure. Half shadow, half creature. Its skin seemed to shift in the dim light. Its eyes glowed faintly, like tiny burning stars. The creature did not attack. It simply stood there, staring at the guards as if judging them. The guards froze. The creature tilted its head slightly. Then, without warning, it vanished into the darkness of the ship. One guard screamed. Panic spread across the Varian 7. Hallways echoed with running footsteps and frightened voices. Doors locked. Systems shut down. The commander tried to calm his crew, but fear took control. They searched every room, but the creature was too fast, too silent. It moved through shadows like it belonged there. In one storage room, a mechanic heard breathing behind him. He turned slowly, but the creature was gone. Only the faint sound of metal bending remained. Goliath was exploring. It touched control panels. It tapped the walls. It studied everything with intense curiosity. The creature did not act like a wild beast. It acted like something learning, understanding, adapting. The commander gathered his officers. "What is it? Where did it come from?" an officer asked. The commander replayed the signal received days earlier. The terrified human voice shouting, "We released it! Stay away!" Everyone in the room felt cold in their bones. They tried to communicate with nearby stations, but their signals were jammed. Something was interfering with their communications. Something inside the ship. The creature had learned quickly. Hours passed. People began to disappear. Some were found unconscious, unharmed but terrified. Others were missing entirely. No bodies. No traces. The creature did not kill for fun. It only removed obstacles in its path. Then suddenly, the ship trembled. The engines shut down. Lights flickered. Everyone realized the same thing. The creature now controlled the ship. The commander finally decided to face it. With 2 guards beside him, he walked into the main engineering hall. It was dark. Only the emergency lights glowed faint red. The creature stood in the center. Not hiding. Waiting. The commander tried to speak calmly. We mean no harm. If you understand us, show us. The creature slowly turned its head toward him. Its eyes locked with his. Then it lifted one arm and pointed toward the stars outside the window. A very specific direction. It wanted to go somewhere. Where? The commander asked quietly. The creature tapped a console screen. A star map appeared. It highlighted one region. A region marked with human symbols. The commander recognized it immediately. Earth space. The crew gasped. Their hearts burned with new fear. Why was it going there? Revenge. Destruction. Something worse. The creature then moved closer. Its steps slow, heavy, yet strangely graceful. The guards shook, their hands trembling on their weapons. Goliath stopped in front of them. For a second, everything went silent. Then the creature spoke. Not through mouth, but through a low vibration that filled the room. A single word. Return. The commander understood. It wanted to go back to the humans who created it. Whether for mercy or for punishment, no one knew. Before the commander could react, the creature vanished once again into the shadows, but its message remained clear. The ship's engines roared to life by themselves. Course set. Destination locked. The creature had taken control. And Varian 7 began to move toward human territory, carrying the monster humans tried to throw away. The galaxy did not yet know. This was only the beginning. The alien ship Varian 7 moved through space like a ghost without a soul. None of the crew dared to speak above a whisper. Every hallway felt colder. Every shadow looked deeper. And the creature, Goliath, was somewhere inside, unseen but always felt. For the first time in their careers, the crew understood what fear truly meant. Several hours after Goliath set the new course, a small patrol craft from a nearby alien colony noticed something strange floating in space. At first, they thought it was a piece of metal drifting aimlessly. They scanned it once. Nothing unusual. But when they looked away and looked back, the object seemed closer. The pilot blinked several times. He stared hard. What is that? He whispered. The object had no engines, no lights, no signal. Yet it moved forward. Only when no one watched. The second officer checked the scanners again, confused. It doesn't show movement, he said. But it's getting closer. A cold shiver crawled up their spines. They approached slowly, weapons ready. Then their lights touched the floating object. It was part of the broken containment pod. And inside the cracked metal, they saw claw marks. Deep ones. Fresh ones. The patrol officers froze. Call the station, the pilot ordered. But before he could press the button, a dark shadow slid across their window. Not fast. Not slow. Just smooth. Like something gliding on water. The lights flickered. The officers looked outside again. The shadow was gone. But something was now on top of their ship. Inside Varian 7, alarms began to ring. The commander rushed to the control room. Report. Unknown lifeform detected on external hull. A technician shouted. It wasn't there before. It just appeared. The commander already knew what it was. Goliath had left the ship, and now it had returned. But this time, it brought something else with it. A patrol craft, drifting lifeless behind them with no sign of its crew. Where are the patrol officers? The commander asked. No answer. Scanners showed nothing. No heartbeat. No movement. No bodies. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. The crew looked at the commander with wide, terrified eyes. It took them, someone whispered. The commander did not answer. He couldn't. Far away, deep in the lower deck of Varian 7, 2 engineers walked carefully through a dimly lit hallway. They had been sent to restore the power grid. The lights buzzed softly above them. One engineer stopped. Do you hear that? He asked. His partner listened. A soft sound echoed from somewhere behind them. Tap, tap, tap. Like claws touching metal. Slowly, calmly, patiently. The engineers moved faster. The tapping followed. One of them turned around suddenly, shining his small flashlight. The beam of light caught something tall at the end of the hallway. A shape. A shadow. A pair of glowing eyes. The engineer dropped his tool and ran. The creature didn't chase. Kept the same slow rhythm. Ap, ap, ap. Like it enjoyed watching them panic. Strangely, Goliath still hadn't killed anyone. Every missing crew member was eventually found alive, but unconscious. Their weapons were neatly placed beside them, untouched. It was as if the creature didn't want to harm them. It wanted to learn. In the medical bay, a doctor examined one of the unconscious officers. No injuries. No poison. No wounds, the doctor said. It touched him. Only to study him. The commander felt sick. What kind of creature studies its enemy instead of killing? No one had an answer. The colony that lost its patrol craft sent a warning to nearby systems. Messages flew across the region. There is something in space. It moved into our ship without being seen. It learns. It adapts. It is heading toward human territory. Soon, more ships reported strange sightings. Tall shapes in the dark. Metal scratched from the inside. Equipment moved overnight. And rumors spread fast. Humans have created a monster. It cannot be stopped. It is coming for all of us. Back on Varian 7, the commander made a desperate choice. He would confront the creature. He entered a wide chamber alone. No guards. No weapons. Just a single light above his head. The room was silent. At first, nothing happened. Then the shadows behind him shifted. Goliath stepped forward. The commander's heart hammered in his chest, but he stood his ground. "Why are you here?" he asked, voice trembling. The creature examined him quietly. Then it reached out and touched the console beside him. A star map appeared. Earth's symbol glowed brighter. "You want to go back," the commander said softly. The creature tilted its head. Then it placed its hand over the star map and pressed down. The ship changed direction instantly. Course locked toward human space. A deep, vibrating sound filled the room, like the creature speaking without words. The commander felt the meaning in his chest. Threat. The creature pointed toward Earth's star, then toward the darkness beyond it. The message was clear. It wasn't running from humanity. It wasn't seeking revenge. It was warning them. Something worse was coming. The commander sent a final broadcast to every nearby ship. "Do not attack the creature. It is not hunting us. It is trying to reach the humans. We don't know why, but it is afraid of something." The moment he said it, he regretted the words. Because if a monster like Goliath could feel fear, then whatever frightened it was beyond anything the galaxy had ever faced. The alien High Council gathered inside the Great Hall of Zorian Prime, a world known for order and strict judgment. News had spread across systems like wildfire, an unknown monster drifting through space, boarding ships, and moving toward human territory. Every species had heard the same terrifying whisper. Humans released it. Now, the Council demanded answers. Representatives of several alien races filled the glowing chamber, their voices echoing with fear and anger. The air itself felt heavy. Everyone wanted the same thing: an explanation from humanity. For the first time in many years, Earth responded. A calm voice came through the giant communication screen, belonging to Ambassador Lyra Hale, one of Earth's leading diplomats. Her face was tired, her expression serious. "I understand your fear," she said, "and I know why you called this meeting." The Zorian chief slammed his metal staff on the floor. "You created a monster," he shouted. "You unleashed it into the stars. Do you deny this?" The chamber shook from the roar of the crowd. Ambassador Hale did not raise her voice. She simply looked down for a moment, as if remembering something painful. Then she spoke. "We did create something," she said, "but it was not meant to be a weapon. It was meant to protect us." The hall went silent. Even the council leader leaned forward. "Explain." Hale pressed a button. The screen behind her lit up with images: broken colonies, destroyed stations, burning worlds drifting in space. "Many years ago," she said, "our outer colonies were attacked. Not by you. Not by any species we know. The enemy came from the deep void, a place with no stars, no planets, no light. A murmur spread through the hall. No one survived? The Zorian chief asked. Almost none, Hale whispered. Ships were ripped apart. Cities vanished within minutes. Children, families, entire outposts disappeared. She paused. We tried to fight. We tried to defend. But nothing stopped the attackers. The images showed human ships firing desperately while a massive shadow swallowed the battlefield. The crowd stared in silence. What was it? Someone asked. Hale shook her head. We never saw it clearly. We only saw the aftermath. The screen changed again, showing a lab deep under Earth. Scientists working on something huge, alive, and growing. And so Project Goliath was born, Hale said. The council gasped. The ambassador explained everything. Humans had built Goliath from the strongest DNA they could find. Earth animals, extinct creatures, and experimental structures designed to survive cosmic attacks. Goliath was meant to be a shield, a guardian to stand between humanity and the darkness. We made it strong, she admitted. We made it fast. And we made it able to learn from danger. Her voice softened. But we never meant to create fear. The screen showed Goliath in early stages. Small, calm, even gentle. But as each attack simulation was introduced, the creature adapted faster than expected. It became more alert, more intelligent, more aware. Some alien leaders began to understand. Others grew even more afraid. The Zorian chief folded his arms. Then why send it into space? Why not destroy it? Hale's face turned cold. Because Goliath was never violent toward us. We did not destroy it because we still believed it could save us someday. But it evolved too fast. So we removed it from Earth to protect our people. But now it comes back, the chief growled. With power beyond control. Maybe, Hale answered. Or maybe it comes back to warn us. Back on the alien ship Varian 7, the commander stood in the control room listening to the council broadcast. His crew gathered behind him, bruised, shaken, afraid. When Ambassador Hale mentioned a dark cosmic enemy, the commander felt a chill. He remembered the creature's earlier message. Threat. He now understood. Goliath had not escaped. It was running from something, or trying to stop something coming after it. The commander said quietly to his crew, It doesn't see us as prey. It sees us as obstacles. We are simply in the way. A technician swallowed hard. What about the humans? What will they do when Goliath reaches them? The commander looked at the star map showing the ship racing toward Earth. That depends on whether they fear their own creation, he said, or whether they still believe in it. Across the council hall, arguments broke out. Some races demanded Goliath be destroyed before it reached human space. Others believed humans should be punished for creating something so dangerous. A few more cautious leaders suggested observing the creature first. But the loudest voices were full of panic. Humanity is reckless. They will doom us all. That creature is a disaster waiting to happen. Ambassador Hale listened quietly to every accusation. Then she spoke again, her voice steady. You fear Goliath because you believe it is our monster, she said. But the truth is, Goliath fears something greater. The hall fell silent again. We built Goliath to protect us from the darkness. The same darkness that may one day reach your worlds too. Her message shook the entire council. If the creature that terrified the galaxy was itself terrified, what kind of enemy could make it afraid? Back on Varian 7, the creature stood once again in the shadows of the engineering deck. Its glowing eyes watched the stars passing by outside the window. For the first time, the commander felt something unexpected. Pity. The monster humans created did not want war, did not want chaos. It wanted a chance to save them again. But the question remained. Save them from what? As the ship approached human space, a final whisper echoed through the ship, a low, trembling sound from the creature. A sound filled with dread. The commander understood only one thing. Something is coming. Something far worse than Goliath. The ship Varian 7 drifted closer and closer to human territory. Every passing hour felt heavier. The alien crew moved quietly, always checking the corners of every room. They knew Goliath was still inside the ship, watching them, listening, waiting. No one had seen the creature attack with full force yet, but everyone felt it was capable of much more than it had shown. As the ship crossed into a busy star lane, dozens of small alien trading vessels appeared on the scanners. Children laughed on family ships. Traders argued over prices. It was a peaceful route, full of harmless traffic. And then a warning flashed on the radar. A war fleet approached. The vessels belonged to the Red Har Dominion, a powerful race known for their brutal methods. They had heard rumors of Goliath and believed destroying it would make them heroes. When they saw Varian 7, they didn't hesitate. "Unknown ship," their commander announced. "Surrender the creature for termination, or be destroyed." The crew of Varian 7 panicked. They had no chance against a full fleet. The commander of Varian 7 raised his hands to calm everyone. "They think we support the creature," he said. "But we have no control. We must show we mean no harm." He reached for the comms to explain, but the ship shook violently before he could speak. A shadow flashed across the viewing window. Goliath had moved. The Red Har ships opened fire immediately. Bright beams tore through the star lane. Harmless trading vessels scattered in fear. The commander yelled, "Shields up!" But the systems did not respond. Instead, something stronger took control. Goliath! The creature stepped into the main hall, its glowing eyes fixed on the Red Har fleet through the wide window. It stood completely still, judging them. A Red Har officer laughed through the speakers. "Look at it! A failed human beast. Burn it with the others." The creature's body tightened. Its muscles shifted under its dark skin. It wasn't afraid. It was angry. A deep rumble filled the hall. The commander felt the meaning inside his bones. Threat. In a sudden flash, Goliath leapt from the floor and vanished from sight. The Red Har ships continued firing, focusing on the largest trading ship, a ship full of children. Then something slammed into the first Red Har destroyer. The metal bent inward, as if struck by a giant hammer. Lights exploded. Alarms roared. The entire destroyer spun out of control. The Red Har commander shouted, "What hit us?" "What?" He never finished. A dark shape appeared on the outside of his window. Huge, terrifying, alive. Goliath! With a single strike, it tore open the destroyer's control room. The air rushed out into space. The Red Har screamed. Their ship broke apart in seconds. The peaceful trading vessels watched in horror and awe. The creature didn't attack them. Not even once. It moved only toward the warships. A small child on a trading ship cried as debris floated toward their vessel. Their ship had weak shields and couldn't handle a collision. Before the commander could react, Goliath moved again, faster than the eye could track. The creature spread its arms wide and used its massive body to block the incoming debris. The metal shattered against its skin. The trading ship survived. Inside Varian 7, the crew stared. "It protected them," one whispered. "It saved a child," another said. The commander felt his fear change into something else. Respect. "The creature chooses who to fight," he said softly. "It understands." The Red Har fleet realized the truth too late. Goliath was not wild. It was not confused. It knew exactly who the enemy was. One by one, their warships exploded or went silent. Goliath dismantled them with terrifying precision, breaking engines, tearing weapons apart, stopping missiles mid-air. It didn't kill more than necessary. It simply destroyed their ability to fight. The Red Har survivors fled, terrified. "No more! No more!" they cried across the comms. "It's not a creature, it's a nightmare." And just like that, the battle ended. The trading ships quietly drifted, too shocked to speak. The silence felt too large for words. Goliath stood on the hull of Varian 7, watching the Red Har ships vanish into the darkness. Then, slowly, it stepped back inside the ship. The alien crew braced in fear as the creature walked past them. But Goliath didn't attack. Instead, it approached the commander and tapped its claws gently on a panel. A star map lit up again. The route toward Earth glowed brighter. "You protected them," the commander said quietly. "Why?" The creature turned its head slightly, its eyes dimming for a moment. Then it touched its chest and pointed toward the human star. The message was clear. Its loyalty still belonged to the humans who created it. Even after being abandoned, even after being feared, the creature chose humanity. The commander exhaled slowly. "It isn't a monster," he whispered. "It's a soldier." But then Goliath did something unexpected. It pointed toward the deep, empty blackness beyond human space, the direction of the unknown enemy. A low, trembling sound filled the ship again. The commander understood. The real war had not begun yet, and Goliath had chosen its side. Not with aliens, not for revenge, but with humanity. The ship Varian 7 traveled through human-controlled space now, but the crew felt no safety. Every corridor still shook with the memory of Goliath tearing through the Red Har fleet. Nobody dared walk alone. Nobody slept deeply. But one thing had changed. They were no longer sure if Goliath was their enemy, or their only protection. For days, the creature stood silently near the navigation deck, watching the stars like it was waiting for something to appear. The crew kept whispering the same question. What is it looking for? On the third day, a sudden, faint beep echoed inside the communication room. A thin blue light blinked on the radar, so small it was almost invisible. The operator frowned. "No ship should be out there," he said quietly. "That area of space is empty." But the radar kept blinking, and blinking, and blinking. A strange pattern formed. 5 short signals. 1 long one. 5 short again. The commander's eyes widened. "That's not random. That's a code." Goliath turned its head sharply toward the sound. The creature stepped forward, its entire body tense. Something inside it recognized that pattern. The lights in the room flickered as its body energy changed. The commander swallowed. It knows the signal. The pattern repeated. 5, 1, 5. The operator whispered, "It's like a call." But who was calling? The commander ordered the ship to stop. The radar screen shifted from blue to red for a moment, then back to blue. Something enormous drifted at the edge of their scanners, far beyond visual range. It didn't move like a ship. It didn't broadcast any ID. It simply floated there as if watching. A cold fear moved through the crew. "Is that the creators of the creature?" someone asked. "Or something hunting it?" The commander shook his head. "I don't know. But we won't get answers from here." He turned toward Goliath. "What is that thing?" The creature didn't react. It simply stared at the distant shape, unmoving, like a statue carved from darkness. Then it did something none of them expected. Slowly, it stepped toward the airlock. The crew panicked. "It wants to go outside. Commander, stop it. We can't let it leave." But the commander raised a hand. "Let's see what it does." Goliath touched the airlock door. The metal glowed under its claws. With a soft hiss, the door unlocked, without any command from the control panel. The creature walked out onto the hull of the ship and stared at the distant shape. The blinking signal continued. 5, 1, 5, over and over, calling Goliath. Suddenly, Goliath lifted its hand. A beam of energy shot from its palm, thin, precise, controlled. It was the first time the crew had seen the creature send anything other than brute force. The beam pulsed in the same pattern. 5, 1, 5. The giant shape in the distance responded. A new signal flashed back, this time stronger. The sound shook the walls of the ship. One long pulse. Just one. Goliath's eyes widened. For the first time, the creature stepped back in fear. The commander froze. "What does that mean?" The creature turned toward him, its muscles trembling, breath short, as if the single pulse carried a meaning too heavy to bear. It walked back inside and slammed its hand on the star map. The map zoomed out, showing the entirety of human space. Then a blinking red circle appeared far beyond Earth, deep in the unknown. Goliath pointed at the circle. Then it displayed 2 images on the holoscreen using its internal projector. The crew didn't even know it could do that. Image 1. A colossal shadow covering a planet. Image 2. That same planet, broken apart. The crew fell silent. The commander whispered, "That one long pulse, Was a warning. Goliath nodded once. The crew stared at the holoscreen in horror. Is something coming? Is that what created it? Or what destroyed its creators? Goliath pointed at the destroyed planet, then at itself. The message was clear. It wasn't created to kill humans. It wasn't created to rebel. It was created to fight that. Something old. Something massive. Something powerful enough to erase planets. The commander's voice trembled. How soon? Goliath raised 2 fingers. 2 what? The navigator asked. 2 hours? 2 days? 2 months? The creature didn't answer. It simply turned and walked toward the main window, watching the dark of space again. More intensely now, more alert. The commander whispered, "Everyone to battle positions." Just as the crew prepared, the radar detected something else. Another shape. Not 1, not 2, but 12 identical shadows, appearing around the first one. The blinking signal changed. 5, 5, 5. The operator's voice cracked. That's not a call anymore. The commander's face turned white. That's a countdown. Goliath's entire body lit up with energy, brighter than ever before. It stepped forward, placing its massive hand on the glass, staring out into the void like a warrior watching his enemy arrive. The creature wasn't afraid anymore. It was ready. The commander whispered the only words that made sense. The real war is here. Silence fell over the entire ship. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Even the engines hummed more quietly, as if the whole vessel understood the danger now waiting in the dark. 12 enormous shapes surrounded the first giant shadow. Together, they floated in a huge circle, like predators preparing for a hunt. The countdown signal continued. 5, 5, 5. Again and again. Goliath stood at the window, its entire body glowing faint blue, brighter with every pulse from the distant shapes. The commander whispered, "They're calling it, or warning us." But Goliath turned its head sharply, shaking it. No. Not calling. Not warning. These things had found them. For long minutes, the shapes did nothing. They just hovered, silent as mountains. Then, slowly, the center shadow shifted. Not forward. Not backward. But downward. Too smooth. Too controlled. Like a giant eye lowering to focus on a small target. The crew felt pressure in their heads. Something about the way the shadow moved felt unnatural, almost impossible to understand. The navigator murmured, "It's scanning us." Goliath growled softly, a deep, heavy sound that vibrated the floor. Then the largest shadow released a single, deep pulse. A sound like a planet groaning. A wave of energy hit the Varian 7. Lights flickered. Screens cracked. The hull screamed under the pressure. The ship survived, barely. The commander grabbed the rail. What was that? A weapon? The operator shook his head. No, that wasn't an attack. He swallowed, terrified. That was the creature introducing itself. The shadows weren't attacking yet. They were letting the humans know who they were dealing with. Goliath stepped back from the window. Its chest expanded as if something inside was waking up. A symbol glowed on its skin, right over the heart. Something the crew had never seen before. A strange mark. Sharp lines. A circle inside a circle. The crew stared with wide eyes. What is that? Was that always there? What does it mean? Goliath didn't answer. Instead, it touched the floor with one claw, carving the same symbol into the metal. Then it projected an image again, like before. The holoscreen lit up with a memory. A giant city on a distant world. Towers reaching the clouds. Creatures like Goliath walking proudly. Then, the shadows arrived. One pulse. A second pulse. A third. Buildings fell like sand. The sky ripped open. The world cracked. The shadows didn't fight. They just consumed. The memory ended with a final image. A giant Goliath-like being placing newborn Goliath into a pod. The same pod humans once found drifting in space. A message burned into the darkness. Run. Survive. Grow stronger. The crew felt the cold truth. Goliath wasn't a weapon they created. It was a survivor carrying the last warning of a dead civilization. The shadows began to move again. Slow at first, then faster. 12 shapes drifted away from the leader and spread out, forming a huge circle around the Varian 7. The radar exploded with red markers. "They're surrounding us," the gunner shouted. The commander yelled, "Raise shields! Prepare weapons!" The ship's engines roared, shields flickered to life, and every turret turned toward the dark. But the crew knew the truth. They were ants aiming sticks at giants. One of the shadows moved closer, and for the first time, the crew saw its surface clearly. Not metal, not flesh, something in between. A living darkness, a shifting skin that bent light. No eyes, no mouth, just a shape built for destruction. The shadow's surface split for a moment, revealing a massive glowing core, like a burning sun trapped inside. The commander whispered, "That thing could destroy a city with one breath." Goliath stepped forward, pushing the crew aside, and placed itself in the center of the bridge. Everyone stared at it. The creature raised its hand. Blue flames erupted from its arm, stronger and sharper than ever before. The message was clear. It was ready to fight. Alone if it had to, the nearest shadow unleashed a long, deep pulse, far stronger than the earlier ones. The Varian 7 shook violently. Panels exploded. 2 crew members fell unconscious. A fire broke out near the engineering door. But Goliath stood unharmed. The creature leaned forward and released its own pulse. Not a sound, but a shockwave of blue light that tore across space. The shadow recoiled. For the first time, the human saw it retreat. The commander gasped. It hurt it. But the victory lasted only seconds. All 12 shadows pulsed together. The shock hit the ship like a world-ending storm. Metal ripped. Lights exploded. Gravity flickered. The ship was being pulled apart. Goliath roared, a deep, ancient sound, and jumped through the shattered window into open space. The crew screamed as the creature launched itself toward the shadows, glowing brighter than any star. In the black of the void, the war began. Blue light versus living darkness. A single survivor against a dozen destroyers. The commander watched through the broken window and whispered the words that hung in every heart on the ship. "He's not fighting to win. He's fighting to buy us time."